Hello once again and welcome to the Paranormal Night Stalker. I am Joel Walling. Of course, with me as always is Michael Smith. And today we're going back to something that we used to do actually semi-frequently, even with the old Night Stalker and when we did the stuff on YouTube. And that is, we are looking at a app that is, well, it's kind of making the rounds right now. I've made no secret about it. I'm on a lot of Facebook pages and groups and stuff like that, and I do stuff on there a lot. And one of the things that is on there or one of the groups that I'm in on there is called Paranormal Happenings, I believe, or Paranormal Hauntings. Now I can't remember which group it is I actually saw it from, because it's actually on. It was on in both of them, or one of them. I'm just, their names are too similar, and I can't remember which is which. But anyway, speaking of which, the app we are actually going to be talking about today is called The Witch. Apparently, this app is made by a guy, Brian Holloway, correct?
I think so. Let me make sure.
I believe his name is Brian Holloway. I know he does this app, and he does another one called The Wiccan. And basically, the app is an ITC, instrumental transcommunication device, much like a spirit box or something of that nature. But basically what it is instead of using like the spirit box that does cycled radio stations, it uses a 13-bank voice generator. It's, according to The Wiccan, the original app, was a 13 voice bank generator of different Wiccan incantations and chants that were reversed and chopped up and split up to where a full sentence in understandable English would be impossible. Well, apparently, according to him at least, people had been messaging him that they wanted something of a darker nature, so he created The Witch. And, well, what drew my attention to it, and what made me want to look into this, is the fact that, according to claims, it supposedly spawns paranormal activity. People have reported being scratched. People have reported being pushed downstairs. Poltergeist activity, things of that nature. And all of it seems to coincide with this device, as well as the fact that it is supposed to give incredibly accurate answers. Well, we are researchers, so what do? We researched it. And Michael actually downloaded it, so I did main part of the research. I'm basically just went over it, because I was not going to pay $3 for something that, well, maybe a total load of crap. So I wasn't going to do that, and Michael was like, well, I've spent $3 on worse, so why the hell not? So actually at this point, I'm going to turn the floor over to you so you can kind of explain what you did and how whatever and everything else, and then I'll start talking about the audio when we get back into it.
All right. Well, I downloaded the app, paid for it. I had a little trouble finding it, actually. I had to look pretty good to find it. And I finally found it in the Google Play Store. And so I found it, and I bought it, and I downloaded it, and we tried it. And I only used it once. I recorded a bunch of it on a digital recorder and sent it to Joe in a file so he could hear what I recorded, so he could hear it too. And then we turned it around so that we wanted to see if we could make anything out of it, because it's just bits and pieces. You know, it's not like whole words. It's not like whole sentences or anything like that. It's just, you know, it's kind of gibberish. And so I'm waiting for activity to start. Me being me, I said, all right, you know, because everybody was claiming they had this happen and they had that happen and the other thing happened. Well, we didn't have anything happen. And I didn't expect anything to happen. I really did. I think the only person that got anything out of the app was the guy that I give money to. He got the money. But I'm not against free enterprise. So the guy's pretty smart. He marketed something people wanted to buy, and they bought it.
Yeah.
I bought it to see if it would work, to see what it did, because I wanted to see if the claims of stuff happening were true. I'll give you the fact it sounds freaky as hell. It does. It sounds creepy. If you want to get creeped out by the way something sounds, that'd do it, because it does sound creepy. But as far as it actually having any kind of ITC capability or whatever, I don't see it. We've done EVP stuff, research, and we've used other means of communication like spirit boxes and Ovilus apps and other devices and this and that to see if they work. And for my money, I'd rather have a straight old digital recorder or a recording off a camera any day than have an app or some other kind of a thingamabob off some phone or whatever to try to do this. But that's just me. So, anyway.
Honestly, to me, and I am as we've talked about before, the team we're with right now, Paranormal North Coast, British Columbia. Two of the members are.
There's the app going right there. I just turned it on.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah, the developer's name is Brian Holloway. I want to make sure I have his name right.
Okay, yeah. I thought that was it. But like I was saying, a couple of the members of PNBC are very big into using the Spirit Box. And while I have had extraordinarily interesting results from Spirit Box, there's something more to me when I'm sitting in a room and I get a voice. To me that's much more. It's something much more credible, honestly. Like I was just going over a recording today, and the recording was I was having a conversation with someone else, and a voice from someone that was not in the room with us asked me a question. How do you explain that kind of thing? And as we pointed out with the video from DNA Paranormal in England with the Steve Huff stuff, she pointed out exactly how it's done. The fact that they wait until, it's like the news updates, and so that they're almost certain to get the name of the celebrity that they're looking for. And, that kind of stuff. So a spirit box, while there is a lot of credible information that comes out of it, and like I said, a lot of things that just cannot be explained and written off, it still leaves a lot of things to be questioned, because there are ways of interfering with things and changing things to where it shouldn't be like that. But now going back to this one. One of the first things I looked at with it is, of course, I don't like any spirit box that immediately, or ITC device, let's go on and just call it that, but an ITC device that uses a pre-installed bank. Because, like Michael said, the first thing I did with the audio is I reversed it. Now, this is supposed to be reversed audio, so when you reverse a reversed audio, it becomes forward, it becomes normal. And I started catching things that were still in reverse. So that means that whatever was there was actually in normal, forward speaking manner. I will say the first one kind of caught me off guard because it was actually Michael. It was the name Michael. And that one threw me for a loop there for a second. I was like, okay, we may actually have something. The next one was the one that kind of made me go, okay, it's most likely random gibberish. Because it was a name again. And now we also got to remind everyone listening that no questions were actually asked.
No, we didn't actually do sessions. We just ran the app.
We just ran the app to see what was recorded. So no questions were actually asked. So either A, these things should be talking and, trying to communicate with us, but they cannot be a direct answer to any question. So either we have the most random spirits in the world communicating with us, or you got to ask yourself, is this legitimate or not? Simply due to the fact that the second forward response I got, or I found in the audio, was actually another name. Oprah. As in Oprah Winfrey, the talk show host and media giant mogul, whatever now. That woman's everywhere. She's got her magazine, she's got her food line, she's got her everything. Oprah is Oprah. But that was the first one that kind of got me going, wait a minute here. I don't know a lot of spirits are going to be popping out Oprah. I mean, this isn't, it's not going to be like, you get a car and you get a car and you get a car. No, and with no question being asked or anything, why would that name just come up at random? Of course, it's also not a very common name, so why would you install that name at random? But anyway, let's break down to what the claim of it actually is. According to Brian, the 13 banks that are used in this, and this is what he calls the dark sister app to the Wiccan, are dark or negative Wiccan or witchcraft incantations. Now, the first thing I want to say is, and I hope no one listening on here that is a Wiccan or considers himself a witch,
beside me,
takes offense at this. Because one thing I think it's important to point out, just for the interest of everyone listening, witchcraft does not mean satanic. A matter of fact, all the witches I know would not say anything to or about Satan or Lucifer or any of that nature, simply due to the fact that they do not believe in his existence. They are pagan. They believe in other things. So, right there, I want to put that out. Witchcraft, magic, dark or white, which really there's just magic, but I mean, there are people that consider it white or dark or light magic or whatever, has nothing to do with the Christianity assumption of God and the devil and all of that. They believe in a completely different set of deities. So, I'm listening through this, and there is a lot of clear English in it. He did do a very good job in clipping it and making sure it would be almost impossible to get a full sentence out of it. But he did leave longer clips in it. There are longer clips where you get like one of them said "Our Lord Satan" or "Our Lord Lucifer," which again right there threw a red flag up to me, due to the fact that out of the pagans and the witches that I've known, like I said, none of them believe in Lucifer. So why would there be a witchcraft chanting to that? So I think he just threw together a bunch of crap to make it, like you said, to make it have a really freaky sound.
And also on the app, on the bottom of the screen, where you run your finger, you change the frequency sweep of the app. I don't know what that's for. I don't understand what the difference. I mean, I know what frequencies are, but I don't know what that's supposed to do.
What effect it has on the app.
What effect it has on the app itself, or what it's supposed to do for the overall experience. And just because, I mean, this didn't do anything for us. I mean, like I said, if you buy it for entertainment or whatever else you're going to use it for, it's your money. I don't care. Have at it. If the developer of the app is listening or hears this, we would love to talk to you about your app. If you want to come on the show and tell us what it's supposed to do or how it's supposed to actually work, I mean, I have no problem. I'll be glad to listen.
Absolutely. A matter of fact, we have always opened that, and I'm going to do it again here. And I'm going to probably when this episode comes out, I'll talk about it more on the Night Stalker Facebook page. But the fact of it is, we have always opened the floor to anyone, and we are researchers first and foremost. I mean, we do this. This podcast is supposed to be entertainment. You know, this is where we talk about things and we go over stuff with cases and things like that. But its basis is still always going to be with us, and it's always going to be research oriented, because that's what we do. That is who we are. That is how we function in the paranormal. We are researchers. So we've always talked about if there's an app developer that wants to come on, or an app developer that wants to talk about their app, they can message me. You know, I always go through our parade of plugs at the end, and we have multiple ways of getting in touch with me, and you're welcome to do it. Same with anyone with a theory or belief in a conspiracy or a certain knowledge of the earth that is being overlooked. You know, if you're one of those, we've invited over and over to come on, and it's simply, again, I'm going to reiterate this. Don't think, oh God, I'm going to come on there and they're just going to tear me apart. Because we're going to let you speak your case. You're going to get your say in. You're going to be treated with respect. You're not going to be, talked to like a moron or anything. I might not agree with you, or I might not believe you, but you're still going to be treated with respect.
And you're going to get asked hard questions.
That's I was about to say. But you're going to be asked difficult questions. You're going to be asked stuff that you may not want to answer. You know, and that is true, because especially dealing with an app, because you're talking to a computer expert and someone who knows, I know how this kind of stuff works. It's like I had all of these people for a while telling me not telling me, but talking in these groups and talking about the different places to download a EMF detector app for your phone and how accurate they are. And finally got in touch with someone from Samsung Engineering that sent an official response that said bluntly, no phone can be turned into an EMF detector by an app alone. You do not have that capability.
You have to have the hardware. Even I know that.
But I mean, still, you go onto the App Store. There's a dozen EMF detectors, and the problem. And this is something that me and a friend of mine, Pete Wren, have talked about frequently. The problem is, people see these apps, and it's like I talked to when I did the presentation in. We did a presentation on an investigation we had done in Terrace, British Columbia, with the Heritage Park. Well, one of the people asked, do you guys use any of the apps? And I told her, yes, that I did use the SB7 Spirit Box app. And that I believe it has credibility. I'm still not positive and set on it, but I do believe, as of now, it is something that is credible. I don't know if it's credible by the fact that it was a fuck-up gone right, that they made it for entertainment and as a joke, and ended up doing something right and are actually getting responses, because there are parts of it that I'm pretty sure are pre-recorded. I'm getting far too many of the same sounding things in multiple places. That tells me they are part of that app. They are recorded. But then
the problem is stuff that we get is not.
Exactly. Then we get members' names, or we get a direct message, something that is irrefutable and impossible to have recorded without knowing personal, private details. So there is, that's what makes me go, okay, they're onto something. They may not even know they're onto it or how they got onto it, but they're onto something. So, but then we were talking about they have the ghost radar, and they've got this one and they got that one and they got all these other ones. I don't know which one and I told the people, I was like, I was like, when you go into the App Store and you're looking at paranormal apps, you've got to take it as kind of like this. Most of the apps were created to do, created kind of like the Ouija board, honestly. They were done for like slumber parties and games and stuff for people to go, ooh, look at that. Because, for a long time I did try a lot of the apps just because, hey, why not? They're free. Let's see what these things got. And this thing, I turned it on for a few seconds, and automatically one of the first things I get in front of me says it's a 10,000-year-old vengeful spirit. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm trying to get this thing to do anything, and it won't do anything, and it just disappears. And then a something spirit of light pops up, and I'm like, okay, this is bullshit. I come out and I'm like, okay, we'll try it somewhere else. I try it somewhere else. I get the same responses. Not very long ago on PNBC's Facebook page, we did a live stream where I believe it was I can't remember the name of the damn program now. But anyway, it was supposed to be an Ovilus type spirit box device for computers. No, it was not the Alice box. It was another one. I'll talk about the Alice box in a second. But anyway, one of the people that were listening, actually, they followed the link and downloaded it and installed it. And they kept saying, why don't you restart your app? Why don't you restart the program? So restart the program. And I'm like, okay, I'm restarting it. And I turned it off, shut it down. We talked for a couple of minutes. I was like, okay, I'm starting it up now. Well, what I didn't know is the person was actually starting their program at the exact same time. So we're sitting there, and I think 10 or 15 minutes goes by, and we get a response. And I'm like, okay, we got a response. It's interesting. I look in the chat box, and what does it say? I got a response too. Mine said this. So you have two apps, or not apps, these are computer programs or applications, so they could be called apps, started up at the exact same time in two different parts of the world.
Yeah, same
they
thing.
Get a response at the exact same time.
What, this was the same response or a different response?
No, it was a different response. But by me being a computer expert, I automatically recognize what that is. That is a programmed random response. It's got a dictionary in it. And it is programmed to give you your first response at about 10 minutes. And it just picks a word at random. We let it go. We got another response. She got another response. That says everything I need to know about this. We were not doing an EVP session. She was not doing an EVP session. Her responses made no sense to anything around her. Our responses made no sense to anything around us. So yeah, that was a program. And it was made. And honestly, I really, I have seen a lot of paranormal investigation teams using them. These are not real. I've also seen a few of them using the one that you just mentioned, the Alice box, which was a I2C device that when you first download it, it explains to you in the instructions on how to use it. Step 1, erase pre-installed dictionary and put in only terms and names relevant to the place you are investigating. Well, of course, me being me, I did uninstall the original dictionary. I did delete it. And I added gibberish. Stuff that no spirit anywhere would ever say, and I never said out loud. Like banana hammock. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
You didn't type that. You can't spell that. I know that for a fact.
You can do a lot when you copy-paste from Google.
Okay.
Because you're absolutely right. No, I could not spell that, and I did not type that. But when you put in supercalifragilistic and all of that, it automatically pops up. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
There you go.
Yeah. Mary Poppins was like one of the go-to movies when I was a kid. I have seen that movie 10,250,000 times. But that was
But
what I did. I put stuff in it that I knew no spirit. So like when I say, "Can you tell me your name?" and it comes up banana hammock. No, not hardly. I'm almost quite positive there is no one in the world, living or dead, that was ever named banana hammock. And that's pure and simple. That was a random word generator. And just for anyone out there that's listening that's going, well, you kind of set it up for failure. You're absolutely right, I did. But what I also did was put in names that were relevant to where I was at. I did what it said, but I threw in the gibberish too. If it was a true spirit, it would have hit on the names that were relevant. It would not have answered banana hammock. That tells me it was random.
I can go from, well, we'll use the XB7 because I've worked with that some, well, actually a lot. Not on the investigation, more on the research side, but some investigations also. A lot I get from that, like you said, is just, it doesn't make sense for where I am. Nothing I can verify or anything else. I have had some that I've got that made me wonder.
Oh, yeah.
But for me, the jury's still out on that. I don't put a lot of credence in a program I'm going to get for free on my cell phone. I'd rather have a plain old, straight up EVP or a voice phenomenon that you hear with your own ears. I'd rather have that any day of the week.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. It's just like I said. There have been too many things happen on it that makes me completely dismiss it. But the fact of it is, I would rather have a voice recorder and, do it the old-fashioned way.
I mean, we've had stuff here lately. We've had some of the damnedest EVPs. I wish you could hear some of them, but we can't put them on because they were private investigation.
Yeah, private investigation, and a couple of them were a little on the
blue side.
That's about to say the adults only side.
But some of those I've never heard anything like those in EVP. And very clear.
Oh yeah, it was crystal clear. That one was crystal clear.
Would be a class A if I ever heard one. And the things that we work on is we're always trying to figure out not so much, we know how to record it, we know how to do an EVP session, but the things we ask ourselves are, first off, what is it? And second off, how does it do what it does? And we're working on that pretty much all the time. If you can hear us talking, we talk every day, sometimes for hours and hours about everything, but mostly about paranormal research stuff that we both do. And we're always figuring new angles, trying to figure out a way of checking something or measuring something or a new way to get data or work with somebody new on a new idea. I mean, if you got an idea for something, send us an email. Get on Facebook and drop us a line. We'll be glad to work with you. Everything's confidential. If it's your idea, we're not going to poach it. If you need help with something, we'll be glad to do what we can. It doesn't matter to us. We've reviewed evidence for many groups across the country and around the world and sent us evidence to review from their cases. And what do you think this is? And the way it works is you send us something and we send you what we think.
Yeah.
We don't see your evidence and we're not going to put it out as our own because we got enough of our own damn evidence to go over. Trust me. And
actually, I was just finishing that this morning, man, and just as soon, we are extraordinarily backlogged. Even the other members of the team have started talking about that. It's like, oh my God, they were wanting to. thinking about going somewhere else or something. And it's like, can we go anywhere else until we finish the evidence and stuff we've already got? Because the truth of it is, we are, as a team, we are like horribly, horribly, horribly backlogged.
You're trying to kill me, right? Go somewhere else. Whose brilliant idea was that?
Well, it was just a thought because of some of the stuff that we haven't been able to release.
Well, there's a reason for that. We've had, on another note, and I don't want to go too far off topic for the day, but we were talking this morning, and I don't know if we're the only group that's seen it or not, but we've seen an increase overall in negative cases. Cases that have a negative feel. Something not Uncle Fred-like, something darker. And we don't let our personal religious views or beliefs come into our investigations. We investigate the case. The case dictates the evidence and what we find. Nothing else. If we go somewhere and it has the earmarks of a negative or a demonic haunting, that's how we treat it. And we have people in our group that deal with those things. And we know how to research those things and find out what's going on. So that's what we do. We don't skew the case to fit what we believe. We go in to let the case tell us what's going on. Sometimes it's fine. It's earthbound. It's been here forever. It's Uncle Fred or whatever it is. And that's how we go at it. Sometimes it's not. But we've seen a rise in the negative cases coming through, things with a darker twist. And I don't know if any other teams have seen that or not happening. But if you have, if you hear this and you're on a team or you run a team, we'd love to have you send us a comment. Just tell us if you've noticed an increase in negative cases in your area. We'd love to know that.
I'd say in like the past year, and this is not just people like in BC or whatever, but because we get contacted from people all over the world. And I would say like in the past year, we have actually been contacted by maybe 10 different people. And only 3 or 4 of them seem like typical, residential hauntings. If you could say there's anything typical about it, but I'm saying, like the grandpa or grandma, that kind of thing. There's only been like 3 or 4 of those that seem to have the mark. Yeah, it's less than half. Over half has primarily had some form of negative feel to it. Not necessarily saying it is negative, because as the quote from Star always goes through my head. Always remember, an asshole in asshole in life is an asshole in death. You don't become a better person just because you die. So if they're an asshole in life, they're going to stay an asshole in death. So a lot of the times, people assume that if it's not something of the, routine or calm nature, that automatically, thanks to Zach fucking Bagans, it's the devil. And that's not true. You can have negative spirits that have nothing to do with demonic or evil. Sometimes an asshole is just an asshole. But these are like going to the next level. We're not talking the normal, even like aggressive, where they're throwing stuff or stuff like that. It's attacks, it's scratches, it's hits, it's all of this. So yeah, that's what we've been seeing more of.
Yeah, and it's really interesting how that seems to be coming around again.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm going to go off on a little bit of a rant on this one because as simply as I could put it, it's because of people that do shit they don't know how to do.
I do.
And
Yeah.
shit they shouldn't do. That's the problem with it. The main problem with it is the stuff that is done that either you don't know how to do or you flat outright shouldn't do. And that actually brings me back to this app that we were talking about earlier. The fact of it is, I did unreverse the reversed audio, and the truth of it is, there are chants in it. And think about this for a second, folks. While, no, you are not chanting. You are not doing that stuff. You are just playing a recording of it out loud into a room. And even more so, because God knows people are geniuses right now, possibly going out to a place that is known for negative or demonic activity and playing it out loud for them. And as I said, that one of the big things on this was that these are supposed to be darker Wiccan chants. Well, as I said, Wiccans don't believe in Lucifer, so you are never going to hear a Wiccan doing a chant that starts out with Our Lord Lucifer. So he threw in demonic chant, or not demonic, but satanic chants in it. That is, so you are playing that stuff out loud. And regardless if you believe it does anything or not.
Why would you do it?
Why would you do it? I mean, yes, we did it for research. Or actually, I can't even say I played it out loud. I played it with earphones. Everything I do with earphones because it's easier to hear shit. That's it, pure and simple. And that's what, makes you wonder about this stuff. Is this rise in negative activity due just simply because people are stupid and they do stupid things now? I mean, in general, a lot of people have always done stupid things. But this is a generation that does the ice bucket challenge for no apparent reason and decides to eat Tide Pods.
Yeah.
So...
I mean, that's like the one on YouTube that the guy put a lit firecracker between his teeth and lit it. The firecracker challenge.
Yeah, then got surprised he blew his damn teeth out.
He's lucky to blow his head off.
Sitting there with his lip shredded and missing like 6 teeth in the front. And he's going, oh my God, I didn't think this would happen. Well, what the hell did you think was happening? You put a damn firecracker in your mouth and lit it. Next time, try shoving it up your ass. Maybe it'll get to your brain.
I mean, I'm sorry, but that's like the damn Tide Pod challenge. One of the people that ate a freaking Tide Pod was a sophomore in college. Person needs to give their damn scholarship back.
Yeah. We got one on the news up here. A baby ate one of the Tide Pods. Of course, that was completely on accident. It was not for YouTube or anything. But I got to wonder how truthful the parents were in this one. I mean, this is nothing paranormal or anything like that. It's just reminded me, and I was going to tell you about it earlier, but then I forgot about it. So, according to these parents, this 3-year-old baby ate a Tide Pod. It saw its mother put the Tide Pod in the washer, proceeded to go to the washer as the washer is going and filling up with water, remove the Tide Pod and eat it.
A 3-year-old did that?
Yep.
3-year-old can't reach the top of a washer and reach down and get a Tide Pod out of it.
That's what I was sitting there thinking. I'm like, how in the hell did the baby get that Tide Pod out of there? And then I'm like, okay, maybe it's one of those front loaders.
Well, it's a front load washer, but even still.
And it's like, I don't even know if a 3-year-old would be strong enough to open one of those. I'm thinking either obviously something did happen because the baby was in the hospital and all of that. But that's either the parents going, we could get rich Let's sue Tide. Or they were just goof-offs and left the damn Tide Pods down where the kid could get a hold of it. But, it's laundry detergent. It includes bleach. It will kill you.
Why would you eat it?
I understand with a baby, a 3-year-old looking at that, yeah, that looks like a piece of candy or something to it. But for a freaking adult or late teenager or even mid-teenager, early teenager or pre-teenager, whatever the hell, they should know better than that. And it's the same, like I said, now we try to wrap this back into the paranormal side of things. It's like we talked about with Psychic Medium Sherry when she was on, that we had things like Zach Bagans opening the Dybbuk box. And thank God
he didn't do it.
Common sense for once, even from Zach Bagans, and that's even more amazing. When common sense works, and when it works with Zach Bagans, that's like off to a whole other level. He decided not to open it, and I applaud him for that. Of course, he got bashed like crazy in the comments. What the hell? We watched it for you to open the damn Dybbuk box. You didn't open it. Why didn't you open it? You chickened out. You're this, you're that, you're that. It's like, well, dumbass, you want it open, you go open it. That kind of thing.
We spend the entire month of November, and we've already lost our PG rating, so it doesn't matter. We spend the whole month of November trying to unfuck everything that gets fucked up by people in October trying to be witches and Satanists and whatever else they call themselves. When they go do shit they don't know how to do and they don't understand.
I've seen videos on... Oh, go for it.
We have more stuff go wrong that we have to go unfuck in November. It's ridiculous. We have more cases of stupid stuff happening. We have to call people in to do this.
Yeah.
To call people in to handle removal of these negative entities and this and that. People that do things in October because they're totally oblivious of what could happen if they do it and it actually works. Because first, they don't believe in it, and second off, they don't think it'll work. So if you don't believe in it and you don't think it'll work, that doesn't mean you should do it. It's just stupid. Don't know how to do.
Yeah, and I got one more since we're in this subject. I was recently contacted by a couple, and they have some bad things going on. Bad things. Serious things. And this is going to be a short, quick, simple, and blunt and to the point. If you are a paranormal research team, and you charge anyone to do an investigation, fuck you, you con artist. They need to be blacklisted. They need to be removed. They need to be drug out in the street, tarred, feathered, beat, and hung from the tallest tree with the shortest rope.
Prosecuted.
These people have been tormented for months, and the reason they hadn't had anything done, and they reached out to us for help, was because the people they contacted near them tried to charge them. And that is the lowest of the low. I guess they're probably the people that watched Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures and saw dollar signs in their eyes and decided, I'm going to go be a paranormal investigator so I can get a TV show and I can make tons of money. And the TV show never panned out. So now they got to figure out another way to make tons of money. So they're going to charge
because they bought a whole bunch of gear. They bought a whole bunch of gear they can't afford.
Yeah, they bought a whole bunch of gear they can't afford. They realized, holy crap. First off, this is a lot of work. And secondly, it's not cheap. I mean, even now, thank God, we are out of the age of videotape, cassette tapes, and camera film.
Oh, God.
Now everything is digital. But I remember going to investigations every investigation and dropping $100 and $150 on batteries and tape and all of this stuff. I remember doing that. It wasn't that long ago.
Well, I still shoot film. I mean, I'm a photographer. I still shoot black and white film. I develop my own, but film is still about $6 a roll.
Yeah, yeah. And if you go on an investigation, you use digital, don't you?
Yeah, but if I do shoot some film on digital on investigation. I always take a film camera no matter what, just because it's not electronic and a digital camera can sometimes fail to work.
Yeah.
My manual film camera, there's not too many ways anything could interfere with that. I mean, you've had batteries that have gone down in an investigation, mysteriously battery drained, that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
My film camera don't have that. Don't have a battery.
Yeah.
It's all made.
But that's like I said, and even then, you do a mix and you do a limited number. It's not like you go in and you shoot like the old days where everything we shot was on, roll film.
Oh God, yeah, you go through 10 rolls of film in one night.
In an investigation, and you may get one picture. You may not. That was the thing that used to suck. Is like I remember when I first started with C-Spot, all of our cameras ran through VCRs. I built what we called the Franken rack. Basically, I took a Fingerhut baker's rack, and I created it into a mobile command center. It cut our setup time in not even half. I mean, we put it down. Our normal setup time was like an hour and something. By the time I got that done, we were down to like 15 minutes setup. Because you had to run the cameras, you had to hook up the TV, you had to hook up because this is going to date it, VCRs.
Oh God, yeah, I remember that.
There were not, the DVR systems did exist, but this was in the beginning of the DVR system, so they were very, very, very expensive. And all of this, and I had it ran through with a TV on the top and a switch where you could go back and forth and watch multiple channels at once. And I had all of the recording set up. And I remember going to Walmart and carrying out 4 bags of cassette tapes for voice recorders. The what is it? The DVC video cassette tape, the small, the micro.
Yeah, the small ones. Yeah.
Those batteries. And VHS tapes.
Jeez. Yeah, no, I mean, it's like, the first digital recorders that come out were great, but we couldn't afford to buy one.
Yeah, you couldn't afford them. Yeah, they were too damn expensive. And that's the way ghost hunting was then. That was in its infancy. And that was when the guys on Ghost Adventures had just started doing TV and just really started getting everything going. And then you had everybody and their grandmother looking at the camera or looking and going, "Oh wow, if I start one of these, I could be on TV too, and I could get rich and I could be famous and I could do this and I could do that." But then, it's like you said, then they're sitting there and they're either trying to buy all this equipment so they look like the people on TV, even if they don't know what the hell they're doing. Or you start realizing, holy crap, this is expensive. This gets expensive quick.
Like all the people that wanted to be on TV, I want to be on TV. Well, I'm just as good as they are. I could be on TV like them. Well, yeah, maybe you are, but they got lucky and you didn't.
Yeah.
If you get into this looking for money at the end of the tunnel, you're in the wrong tunnel because there's no money in it. And there's no market for used ghost gear.
Oh, there's plenty of money in it. There's plenty of money in ghost hunting.
Yeah, for the guys that sell equipment.
I was about to say, it just all goes the other way. See, most people think, oh, yeah, there's got to be money in this. I'll make tons of it. No, you'll spend tons of it. Somebody will still make money.
It won't be you.
Yeah, it just ain't going to be you. So, that's just what it is. That's what we end up, and I preach to people. And then you've got the time. And I still explain this to a lot of people, and a lot of people still don't quite get it. Like if you have, like when I go to just for mine, because basically the way our team works is, or it is now at least, it was for a long time, I did all the evidence, well, you and I did all the evidence review. But the way it works now is, basically, I have my gear. I've got 2 regular digital cameras. I've got 2 micro body cams. I've got my voice recorder. I've got a spirit box. I've got a couple of things like that, and that's all I take with me. That's the evidence I go over. Now, if you find something really good, or you get backlogged and can't do it, and you're at work or something like that, because life does happen. You get sick or whatever. Yeah, I'll jump in and help. But you and I go over just my stuff now, just my recordings, and the rest of the guys are starting to see that. Because it was always more cameras, more cameras, more cameras, and I'm like, yes. The more cameras you have, the more likely you are to pick something up or to have more angles of what you do pick up. But you got to remember something. If you're in an investigation for 4 hours and you set up 8 cameras, that's not a 4-hour investigation. That's a 32-hour investigation when you're reviewing it.
And you got to go over it at least twice.
And you got to do the audio separate.
So
automatically out of the gate, you're looking at 96 hours of evidence review.
Minimum. 96. And, so the last time we did Heritage Park, I was video and audio 6 hours a day for weeks.
Yeah, we actually did go on that one for about 2 weeks straight. But there was a lot to go over. And some of it was wanting to double check, because we did have some events that I wanted to see if we couldn't find. And I was still to this day glad we did, because you got Pete being grabbed.
Yeah, I caught that.
I'd missed it. I discounted it. I mean, I had the scene where you were the one that caught him getting grabbed. You saw the shirt bunch up in the back. So yeah, that was good. We went over that. And also that was actually the last 2 investigations, not just one. But yeah, that was for the presentation, and we really did have a lot to go over that day. I mean, that time, that was crazy. And we just did another investigation at the George Little House this past Friday, and we're looking, that's going to probably, I don't know if I'm going to start the review on that. We might start it tomorrow, but maybe we'll wait until Monday.
Well, I'm game whenever you want. Just let me know.
Because we did actually get some really amazing stuff on that one. And I'm hoping, well, one of them I already know, and it kills me. It kills me, believe me. My recorder, of course, is close to me. I have my recorder on me. Well, Pete has his recorder. He got one of the clearest voices I ever heard, and we weren't that far apart. But I was in the hallway of the main room helping John and Dan set up a Bluetooth speaker when he got it. So at the time, I know he got it because we did review on the spot with his. He's got one of the voice recorders that allows you to mark everything. I hear the cues for it, and then you hear me go, I wonder why it's not connecting. Right at the time it's supposed to have happened. And before anyone says it, no, it was not me on the recording, because 1, his recorder was too far away to pick me up, and 2, it's not in English. And I don't have
I want to hear that. I want to hear that.
As soon as Pete does it, I'm going to have, he said he's going to send it to me. Because I can't wait for that one. Because I'm actually, I know some people that may be able to translate it. But it was loud and it was clear. And I mean, I was like, oh my God. When I heard that, me and him were both standing there like, holy crap. And now, I'm going through my stuff going, okay, please God, let me have it. Let me have it. Because I was so hoping for that. And then, nope. Right at the time it happened, I started talking. And that kills me. That kills me. Because, like I said, that was so clear, and it's not in English. It is not English.
That's the way it happens, though.
I mean, that's just one of them. Like I said, it was a really amazing investigation. Really amazing that night. They were really active. Everything was just really hopping. And we didn't get much upstairs for a train, but downstairs, man, we got some good stuff. Clear as a bell, like strong talking. So can't wait to go over that. Well, we've been going like 56 minutes of whining, moaning, groaning, and complaining.
And complete bitchiness and whatever else. So,
anything else you want to throw in?
No, I think I'm good. I've got my systems clear now. I've ran enough for one day.
So to kind of bring it back around to what we actually started out with, which was the app called The Witch. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna come straight off and say I was coming on here today to call it bullshit. I even downloaded a moo sound effect, so I could actually not only call it that, I could actually play it out for you. But I'm not yet. I actually am going to work with it some more, and I'm going to email Brian and see if we can't get Mr. Holloway on here to talk about his apps before I completely shut it down. So, I guess I shall do the parade of plugs, which has been ever growing since this started, because we have huge news in the world of the Night Stalker Network. The Night Stalker Podcast Network, NPN, is officially got its first episode ready to go. And it comes out the day after Christmas. The first episode of The Dark Side of the Paranormal with June Lundgren will go live at 7 p.m. Wednesday, December 26th. This is the introduction episode where you're going to get to hear all about June and Wendy and what they do, how they work as ghost girls, some of the stuff they've already investigated, their time on television with Ghost Adventures and things like that, and a whole lot more. So this is going to be the first episode of that. Then every Wednesday after that, every Wednesday, we're going to have a new episode of Dark Side of the Paranormal. Now, this is going to be available everywhere you want to find your podcasts at. This is going to be on iTunes, Podcast Addict, Google Play, Stitcher. Well, actually, with Stitcher, you got to wait for it to be released before you can do it, because you have to have a minimum of one episode, even if you're a producer. So that one is going to be coming out the first Wednesday. Or no, sorry, not the first Wednesday. The first Wednesday, December 26th at 7 p.m. The page already exists. If you go to Spreaker, which is Spreaker, that's the site that I've been pronouncing the whole time we've been on there, which has been, what, about 4 months, 5 months?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been pronouncing it wrong the whole time. It's Spreaker, Spreaker. You go to Spreaker.com. It should also be there on, I don't know, on iTunes, Google Play, and that. You can go on and pre-subscribe, meaning the page actually exists. It's just the episode has not been released yet. So you can actually go on, subscribe to it now, and we won't be able to miss it. Now, I'm going to share the link later on. June, if you are a fan of hers, or you follow her on Facebook or Twitter, she has actually already released the link to her podcast page. You can go there, subscribe, look it up on Podcast Addict, and that's such places like that already have it available. You can subscribe, so on December 26th, you don't got to worry about it. You don't got to tune into anything. It'll automatically come to whatever you choose to listen to your podcasts on, including alien anal probes. If that's how this all works.
Here we go with that again.
Yes, we are. Because, well, again, if by some miraculous reason this is being broadcast to the fillings in your teeth, please let me know your dentist, because he's doing us a favor. But if you would rather not have it come out orally, you can always just download it on iTunes, Podcast Addict, Stitcher Podcast, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, and of course on the Spreaker network. We are also on the Amazon Alexa Spreaker network, which I hate. Why would they name it Spreaker instead of Speaker? That just makes, I don't know. It makes no sense to me. Hey, if you're one of the people that work in this company, answer that. Why the hell did you name it Spreaker instead of Speaker? That wouldn't make me look like an idiot for mispronouncing it for the past freaking 5 months. Thanks a lot. Other than that, if you already know how you're downloading it and it is not being orally or anally broadcast, you can always contact us if you have any questions or anything else on Facebook. Just look up at Nightstalker Pod or Twitter at Nightstalker Pod. Of course, if you want to know what we're doing in the Paranormal BC world, you can find us online at www.paranormalbc.com, as well as on Facebook at Paranormal BC. That is where you can find out all the latest information about PNBC. Actually, before we throw this off completely, I do also want to mention we are no longer a part of TAPS. We have decided to leave the organization. Not going to say much more on that until I find out more information. If I find out more information, then it may. Right now, it's simply thank you and goodbye. But if I find out some other things that I want to find out, then it will be thank you, fuck you, bye. But that's all in another one coming. Also, I want to say coming in the new year, we are not done with this yet. Psychic Medium Sherry will be bringing her own podcast to the air. If you know her probably from Paranormal Horizons and her own page on Facebook and her own site. But this one, she is going to be bringing her own podcast to the air on the Night Stalker Network. It's going to be not dealing with paranormal, though. It's going to be dealing more with her life as a psychic medium. Of course, also, she wants to bring in health, nutrition. It's going to be all about mind, body, soul, and spirit. And the first episode of that will be coming out the first week of January in the new year. Of course, I almost forgot one more podcast that I've got to plug, which is, of course, Uncharted Case Files with Ryan Stacy, the Assistant Director of MUFON Canada. He's got his next episode. We've got a little bit of a teaser out right now, just a little 30-second intro about what the podcast is going to be and who he is, which if you want to go on that's already out everywhere you can find podcasts. You can go there, give it a listen. Like I said, it's only a 20 or 30-second intro, just a little quick blurb about what the podcast is about. His first episode should also be coming in the first week of January. I'm going to try to get this all set up so the Night Stalker Network when it goes live in January, it's just going to be everywhere. But I am out of breath. I'm also very dry mouthed now because I've been talking for, I think, somewhere in the neighborhood of 8.5 straight minutes, which I think that's even a record for me.
No, it's not.
Okay, no, it's not. So 8.5 minutes is not the record, but it's pretty damn close. So, until next week, I want to say thanks everyone for listening. I hope you enjoyed the show. And remember the wise wisdom from the Dark Farm. Get your knees off the poop deck, Grandma. We'll talk to you again next week.